Our story begins with Varvatos, a human who grew so powerful that the rest of humanity began to call him the Demon Lord. Many grew to see him as a monster, both fearing and respecting his disturbing influence. As such, Varvatos feels alienated from his fellow humans. Hoping his fate will change in his next life, he decides to reincarnate 3,000 years later as a 10-year-old boy named Ardmeter, the son of a couple similar to the common people of the land. Unfortunately, the study of magic has declined significantly since his life as Varvatos. So while his powers in this new life would have been considered advanced in the past, his strength still far surpasses all in this new era. But despite being a temperamental wizard, Ard has proven to be as socially awkward as fans of the anime. All of the children he tries to curse simply run away from him because he comes across as too scary. But on one particular day, Ard encounters a young elven girl named Irina fighting a rooster in the forest. And after watching the girl kill the rooster, Ard tries to make conversation with her. But everything he says only seems to scare her more and more. Thus he decides to ask her to be his friend. But she refuses and runs straight into the arms of her father Alhaid, who just happens to be good friends with Ard's parents. Seeing this, Ard believes that Irina and he are destined to become good friends like his parents, which leads him to try to curse her again and again. But unfortunately, he is always met with rejection. After some time, a group of roosters invade the town and begin attacking. Ard's father and Alhaid defeat the roosters while Ard searches for Irina, who has not yet returned from the mountains. Both men are shocked to see Ard using a flying mirror, as this is considered one of the many lost abilities. Meanwhile, as Irina is surrounded by roosters, she remembers how she was scared and betrayed by her old friends and how life is no longer worth anything. She puts her gun down and tells the roosters that they can only kill her. Sure enough, as Irina accepts her fate, Ard arrives and eliminates the roosters in a few seconds with only a pair of mirrors. He then promises Irina that if she is his friend, he will stay by her side forever, and Irina finally accepts his friendship. Several years later, a growing Irina surprises Ard by getting into bed with him and suggests that they join forces at the Magic Academy. Once they arrive at the academy, Master Rooster immediately takes a liking to Ard and Irina, as they are the children of the three great heroes Alhaid and Ard's parents. Ard was unaware that his parents were actually legendary heroes who once defeated an evil god. This brings much desperate attention to Ard, who only wants to live a simple life as a nobody. Later in class, both Ard and Irina are bombarded by students who want to be their friends and learn from them. Suddenly they witness a young succubus named Ginny being assaulted by Iraldo, the son of a noble family, who claims that Ginny is his property because she is inferior to him. Ard then enters and demands that the girl be treated fairly and that Iraldo apologize to her. This prompts Irina to propose a duel between them to calm the matter while joking about her lineage. Just then their teacher Olivia enters the room. Ard immediately recognizes him as one of his generals from his previous life and hopes that she will not notice that he is in fact the Demon Lord reincarnated. Intrigued by Ard, Olivia decides to observe the duel between him and Irina, much to Ard's disdain, as he must now find a way to defeat Irina without Olivia noticing his true identity. During the duel, Ard realizes that Iraldo has been using ordinary mirrors but has been giving them impressive names to make himself seem bigger than he is. This angers Ard, who decides to show Irina what truly powerful magic is, leaving Iraldo completely bewildered and with no choice but to come out and apologize. Unfortunately, in his frustration, Ard had completely forgotten about Olivia, who soon asks him how he managed to expend two powerful mirrors at once. Frustrated, Ard says that dueling is a simple thing that anyone can do, but Olivia refutes that expending two mirrors is a lost skill, and that no one nowadays can do it. Despite this, Olivia apologizes but states that she will learn the truth about him soon enough. The next day, Olivia sends the class to hunt monsters in a duel, which leads Ard and Irina to team up with Ginny, but because of years of bullying from Iraldo, Ginny suffers from a severe lack of confidence, and she feels like she is just holding Ard and Irina back. To help boost her confidence and prove that she is not useless, Ard teaches her his magic, a lost skill he invented in his previous life that makes mirror marriage faster. Ginny catches on to this fairly quickly, but the trio then falls through a door, putting them face to face with the boss of the duel, a powerful Minotaur. Although the girls are frightened by this encounter, Ard stops the Minotaur's attack with a single finger. He then uses this opportunity to teach the girls more about how magic works. With the boss nearly dead, Ard encourages Ginny to break up with him in the hopes that it will help her gain confidence. Ginny thinks back to how she expected someone like the Demon Lord Valvados to save her, but she realizes that she no longer needs saving as she begins to clap the Minotaur's arms with her magic writing. After defeating the Minotaur, Ginny feels proud of herself for the first time and is happy to have made two new friends. After returning to the surface, Ard then tries to leave only to be stopped by Olivia, who wants to have a nice long talk with him. But in reality she is just getting in the way of the Gold Chief, who has asked him to participate in a Dual Academy event to impress the Queen, which Gold hopes will help secure more funding for the Academy. But Ard refuses, as he does not want to draw any more attention to himself. Later that day, a student confesses her love to Ard, which he notices has happened several times over the past day. But the student is quickly scared away by a lattice arena. That night Ginny visits Ard alone in his room and tries to seduce him with her succubus powers. She tells him that she believes a man as wonderful as Ard deserves to have his own palace of wives, but that she at least wants to be the first. The arena arrives moments later with the intention of seducing Ard as well, but is embarrassed when she sees that Ginny has defeated him. The two girls argue and eventually decide to fight Ard, but he forbids them from doing so and forces them to apologize to each other. Unfortunately, Professor Jessica soon enters the room and convinces the girls to join the Academy's duel event to fight Ard. This fools the girls, who both want to show Ard what they are capable of. At the duel event, Ard is embarrassed by his parents and Irina's father, who happen to be the judges of the competition. When the competition begins, Ard begs Irina and Ginny to lose, as he does not want to see them fight. However, Irina and Ginny easily win their matches against other students thanks to Ard's teachings, and quickly make it to the finals, where they can finally fight for Ard's heart. But before the duel can begin, demon cultists appear in the audience and begin attacking the stadium. Professor Jessica then stabs Irina's father in the neck and reveals that she is actually Elzard the Dragon King, and that her plan all along was to rob Irina. Ginny tries to protect Irina despite being a rival for Ard's love, but she is injured in the process and is unable to stop Elzard from abducting her friend. Irina's father wakes up in the school infirmary after being healed by Ard and reveals that Irina has been taken by Elzard. Ard reassures him that he will rescue Irina from Elzard and destroy any other forces that stand in his way. Meanwhile, Elzard prepares to sacrifice Irina to a monster called the Orphan of Chaos, as part of a ritual to vanish an evil god and destroy the world he hates. After equipping himself and promising Ginny that he will save Irina, Ard arrives at Elzard's hideout just in time to kill the Orphan of Chaos before he can eat Irina, and continues his rampage by assaulting Elzard's followers as well. Desperate, Elzard tries to turn Ard against Irina by revealing that Irina's family is actually descended from the evil gods, but Ard doesn't care. In connection with this, Elzard throws a mirror blade at Ard, who simply floods him with his mirror and stops Elzard. However, she reverts to her true dragon form and attacks again by throwing a blue mirror blade at Ard, who defends against it with his magical barrier. Ard then asks Irina to look back before an apparition of Lydia, his lover from his past life, appears to fight by his side while he reverts to his Varvado form. Following this, Ard defeats Elzard with his Ultimo Zero mirror and ensures that Elzard is truly dead at this moment. Lydia then disappears and Ard reverts to normal. As they return home, Irina is somewhat frightened by Ard's strength, but she cheers him on and promises that someday she will become strong enough to fight by his side. Sometime later, a young girl named Sylphie emerges from a dungeon after training for 3 years, only to find that the entire world has changed. A magic master informs her that time changes within that particular dungeon, so that while she was inside, 3,000 years have passed. He then reveals to Sylphie that her sister Lydia and Magic Master Varvados died long ago, but that Varvados' soul was reincarnated into Ard the Meteor. Meanwhile, at the Academy, it is revealed that a festival will be taking place that will include a stage performance that Gold wants Ard to perform. Sylphie arrives at the Academy moments later and confronts Ard about her reincarnation and what happened to her sister Lydia, but Ard exudes ignorance. Meanwhile, Olivia, who has known Sylphie for 3,000 years, is very interested in Sylphie's complaints. Sylphie then challenges Ard to a fight, and while Ard is quickly and desperately victorious, Sylphie loses her temper and has a powerful sword that negatively affects her students. This leads to Irina embarrassing Sylphie, who begins to cry as Irina reminds her of Lydia. When they return to the Academy, they decide that the stage performance for the festival should be about the life of Varvados, with Ard playing Varvados, Irina playing Lydia, and Sylphie playing the evil god. For their class project, however, they decide to organize an all-girls cafe with the girls in very striped outfits designed by Ginny. The other girls in the class initially refuse to wear these outfits, but quickly change their minds after learning that they will be able to serve Ard and potentially seduce him as well. Meanwhile, the Master of the Master from before watches all of this and is eager to see how Sylphie will react when she learns what really happened. 3,000 years ago, on the day of the festival, Sylphie causes chaos and is sent to help out at the girls' cafe. However, she continues to cause chaos there as well, and Ard is forced to clean up after her mess. Afterwards, Ard passes by a tree that is supposed to contain an item sealed by the High Lord King. Olivia then reveals that she entered the High Lord King's tournament and Ard also entered against her wishes. The prize of the tournament is a replica of Vault Galga's the sword guided by the High Lord King, which originally belonged to Lydia. When the tournament begins, Olivia, Irina, Ard, Sylphie, and Ginny all win their respective duels and quickly become finalists. Before the final duels, however, Ginny asks Ard to compete with her in a girl-on-girl beauty contest. Afterwards, Ard surprisingly encounters Gerald at the beauty pageant, who confesses that he and Ginny were friends when they were younger, but his father taught him that anyone who was not mobile was inferior, which led him to blame her. Thus he plans to one day apologize to Ginny and hopes that she will forgive him. Ard and Ginny then go on to win the beauty pageant, which influences Irina, as she also wanted to enter the pageant with Ard. Once the finalists of the round begin, Ard is forced to face Olivia, who tries to force him to reveal his true power, but Ard refuses and accidentally throws Olivia away. This leads to both of them being disqualified. Ard is disqualified for smelling using magic and Olivia for not doing so back in time. Irina then fights Ginny and is eventually victorious after a close match. Meanwhile, the master is disappointed with how events have gone so far and decides to take matters into his own hands. As the game is released on the same day, Ard realizes that this performance is based on a battle he fought in his previous life, which he won thanks to Sylphie hunting for magic on the battlefield and claiming the enemy commander's sword Demise Argus for herself. As the actresses and actors move towards the audience, Sylphie encounters someone who looks like Lydia but becomes someone different. The mysterious Master Mask then approaches him. The next day, a very serious Sylphie wins her last battle against Irina and becomes the winner of the tournament, an accompaniment that earns her the replica of the Vault Galga sword. Later that night, Ard finds Sylphie with Ginny and Irina secretly watching from afar. The red-eyed Sylphie hates to kill Ard and reveals that the replica of the Vault Galga sword is in fact the real one, and the item sealed inside the tree is its source of power. Combining the two, she manages to rebuild the completed Vault Galgas, and then also removes the sword Demise Argus, which empowers her and changes her dress. Sylphie then immediately attacks Ard while Master Mask gleefully watches all this happen. It is then revealed that Master Mask has placed Sylphie under mind control and shown her a memory of Ard killing Lydia. Both Irina and Ginny attempt to stop Sylphie, but their efforts are futile. Ard has no choice but to revert to her defense form against Sylphie's attacks, but when she begins to hear Lydia's voice, the mind control is broken and she calms down. Disappointed that his plan has failed, Master Mask takes matters into his own hands and pulls out the two swords. He then attempts to kill Ard, but the two swords reject him as he is not powerful enough to use them. Ard then uses this opportunity to end the man's life. As the fight draws to a close, Lydia's spirit is shown inhibiting the Demise Argus sword and tells Sylphie that her death was not Ard's fault and urges him to focus on living a full life instead of trying to accuse her. Before disappearing, she calls Ard an idiot, which doesn't surprise him. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next videos. Until next time.